Hi, my name's Allison, and I'm going to be doing my career profile number 2 on marriage and family therapy. And I found a couple of different practices in Rexburg of people who are marriage and family therapists. There's a few people in my ward that are marriage and family therapists that I was able to speak with. One of them is named Kirsten Griggs. But the practice an example that I found was in Sandy, Utah, called Hope Haven Counseling, and it's a practice that has several marriage and family therapists. And I've always wanted to help people through the problems that they're facing in their lives, and I feel like being a therapist or being a counselor would be a really great way to be able to help people, because I've always loved talking with my friends and family members about their issues, and I want to be able to do that on a deeper level in helping family relationships to increase. So the typical work environment would depend on the type of practice that you run. There are marriage and family therapists that have their own private practices, and you could, if you wanted, just have smaller amounts of people coming into your practice to visit with you, or you could work for a mental institution or the government, or a school, and typically you'd work with more people, but obviously you're going to be working with people every day and helping them through issues that they're facing. And that's the kind of the work environment. The hours would be usually from about 40 hours a week from 9 to 5, depending on the practice again. If you have your own private practice, sometimes the hours could be a little different than that. If you want to have different hours, you could rearrange things. But if you work for a mental institution or for a school, the hours would be a normal workday 9 to 5. In some emergencies, clients may need to have your help in the evening or in a time when it may not be super convenient for you. But typically you would have holidays and weekends off. And again, your private practice would be more flexible. The typical stressors of this job, as you would imagine, working with people through the challenges that they're facing in their lives can be really stressful, especially when you get emotionally attached to people. And I think that's probably the biggest stressor of this job, is that you get really emotionally attached to the people that you're helping. And if you can't help them with a problem, might feel tempted to blame myself, but you have to stay logical and understand that not every situation is ideal. It's easy to get attached to those people, and it can be really draining, and the hours can be pretty draining as well, to work a full day of just helping people through their issues in their lives. Also, sometimes you may come across situations of abuse that are hard to see, and you're required by law to report those cases of abuse to the government. And sometimes you may come across clients who aren't as cooperative as you would like and maybe get upset with you. But those are all just things that we have to learn to handle in our everyday lives. The benefits of being a marriage and family therapist, depending on your practice, they would probably provide health and medical insurance for you and your family. The career tasks, common job tasks. Marriage and family therapists, they work with individuals and families to help them to be emotionally and mentally stable and to work through their issues that they're facing. And they use their knowledge of psychology and family relationships to help these families through problems. Typically, you'd sit down with a family or an individual and listen to them and have them tell you what they're going through and ask them questions, and then you'd use your knowledge to help them to come up with a solution. And sometimes you may have to diagnose people with mental illnesses. You can be certified to do that as well. And at this practice, this information I found online, they said that there's different types of practices. There are some groups that have marriage counseling, just couple counseling, or you could have a family counseling session, or individuals, or even animal assisted counseling. So there's lots of different options for you, And if I were to become a family therapist, I think I would vary those and have all different types of counseling and therapy that you can do with people. But ultimately, the goal is to help people to strengthen their relationships and their families and to be stable. The educational requirements for this job, you would need to get a bachelor's degree in psychology, family studies, social work, something along those lines. And then you would need a master's degree in therapy or in counseling, emphasizing in marriage and family or family relations. Of course, a doctorate degree would add to your experience as well and add to an increase in your salary, but that's not required. In order to be a therapist, you need to be certified as well, and depending on your state that you're living in, usually the certification requires 2 years of residency in counseling, which is 2,000 to 4,000 hours working supervised therapist, being a certified therapist or counselor. So that's the education that's required. And the starting salary would be around $30,000. And as you gain more experience through the field, it can get up to around $79,000 or $80,000 a year, which is pretty good. The job outlook for this career is increasing. The family is really under attack right now in the world, and there's going to be a greater need for people to help families to be stable and to be stable in the gospel as well, but have counselors and therapists, people that families can turn to in times of need. And this is something that I think is really worth looking into, because it's so rewarding to be able to feel like you're helping people. And I'm really excited to keep learning more about therapy and family counseling to see if it's something that I really want him to do.